Hey everyone, Rarity Dash here. Time for another blind commentary. So a few weeks ago, I took a look at an entry in LittleshyFim's Everything Wrong with MLP series, Everything Wrong with Rainbow Rocks. The response to that commentary was all very positive, with some people wanting to see me do more of it. And well, I enjoyed the video too, even if I felt he was a little harsh on the film in a few parts. So I don't see why not. Let's start going through it all. Since it's a fair amount of content to get through though, I'll be doing several of them at once. 5 this time. In general, I'll try to keep it close to 15 minutes of content each time, just to keep it from getting too long for you guys. Also, since you haven't seen me actually watch these episodes, for the sake of perspective, I thought I'd go very briefly into some of my thoughts on the episode so that we can see how it compares to what Littleshy is going to say. So the pilot episodes. Yeah, they're not the best of episodes in my opinion. They do their job pretty well, I guess. They give us a setting, characters, and a premise, but they're far from really extraordinary. Mostly it's just being a pilot which holds them back. It's all rather formulaic and obvious. There's some kind of apparent plot holes too, like why does Twilight not know Luna is Celestia's sister when she reads about it at the beginning? And where was Celestia in the first place? All the questions that have been asked many times before. Some things are pretty cool though, like Rarity in part 2. I really like her utterly bizarre fake out during the serpent scene and how she is the first to strike at the Manticore and just... Yeah, but just in general, it's not really a fair indicator of what the show would eventually be and stuff like that. Ticketmaster, it's okay. The episode plays the part of both rehash of the pilot and setup for the season 1 finale. It doesn't really tell us much beyond what we did learn in the pilot in regards to the characters, and it's all pretty formulaic. The humor is the main saving grace, otherwise it would be pretty forgettable. Also, kind of feels like they didn't have everything quite figured out yet. I mean, rather than making gowns for everyone, Rarity entertains sending Twilight and herself to the gala in like these fancy saddles. Also, those weird floating tickets that are just seem to levitate on their own. And yeah, don't think they quite had everything figured out. Applebuck season, that's probably the first really good episode, though maybe still kind of a little formulaic and repetitive in making its point. It does its job of giving a depth to the character of Applejack pretty well, and giving her a core flaw. I can't actually think of much it does outwardly wrong in terms of story, though I'm sure there is some technical stuff that's wrong in the episode, like the physics in the Rainbow Dash scene, and probably some of the actual effects of AJ's sleep deprivation and head trauma and whatever. I don't know, but I'm sure he'll find something to say about it. Now, Griffon the Brush-Off. Unlike most people, I do not hate Gilda. In fact, I really like Gilda. I like her design a lot. I also like her voice, which recalls to me the voice her actress did for Revy in the anime Black Lagoon. I like her general bad girl attitude. It doesn't even bother me that she is mean to Fluttershy, because I kind of think it's cool that they actually went that far with a character in the show. Her dialogue, though, it's pretty laughably awful. Cindy Morrow, I don't think should write this tough girl attitude on any character. This episode in One Bad Apple isn't any indicator. It's just kind of embarrassing. That said, I do appreciate the episode a lot. It was probably the one that actually secured me as a fan. I like how it establishes that the main 6 are not all best friends already with each other. And yeah, because Rainbow finds Pinky pretty outright annoying at the start. I also really like how during this party it's subtly hinted and built up that Rainbow is the one responsible in a way that some people seem to miss. And sure, the whole prank thing, I mean, as you have kind of pointed out, it's kind of weird to see a show like this maybe encouraging that kind of stuff, but I kind of respect that too, just because honestly, yeah, that wouldn't be expected. And yeah, it has some glaring flaws, but it's actually one I've always rather been fond of. Anyway, those are some thoughts on these 5. Let's see what LittleshyFim thought. Time to get started. Okay. Everything wrong with Friendship is Magic Part 1 in 2 minutes or less. Spoilers. Duh.
Not even the series' origin story gives us the Elements of Harmony origin story, because real eggheads use picture books. The theme that made us all cringe.
You do get the origin story of those eventually.
Minuet and Twinkleshine's presents mysteriously disappear from their backs. Spike's very first appearance in the show involves Twilight abusing him. A fictional character once again looks everywhere except for right in front of themselves for the person which they're so loudly shouting the name of. I really can't imagine what the background artist intended this to be.
Wow.
Even Spike
I
has
never
better
noticed that
handwriting
before.
than myself. The more you think about it, the more lens flares don't actually make any sense in a cartoon. Something tells me these Sky Chariots don't exactly have a 5-star rating for safety. There is absolutely nothing keeping the passengers safe in the event that the driver accelerate too fast. Also, these mountains are either really tiny, or they are moving extremely fast. Green apple in, red apple out. Maine remains messy simply because it's relevant to the plot. The blue jay is a territorial bird that is known to attack and kill smaller birds. Spike claims to have hatched from a purple and green egg. However, any diligent Brownie will know that his egg contained absolutely no green later in the series.
Okay,
Minuet,
yeah,
Lemonheart, Amethyst Star, Lyra, and Twinkleshine all followed Twilight from Canterlot and brought their twin sisters. How nice. Twilight Sparkle is colorblind. She also seems to drink quite a bit before actually tasting the hot sauce. This retarded pony offends me greatly.
Derpy.
That has the potential to become very dangerous in a room full of ponies. Judging by the time of night, style of music, and Spike's lampshade hat, this party sounds like it could have been the highlight of the season if we actually had a chance to see it. This prophecy still doesn't make sense.
Time to watch the sunrise!
So apparently the sunrise is at 4 a.m. in Equestria? No one thought to keep an eye on the ruler of the land? Not even to give her a cue to make an appearance? Maybe she's just taking care of her royal duties in the little Phillies room.
Okay,
These 3 haven't met.
Quite a thought.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, they haven't met. That's
Wait,
the big
did
one.
these 3 previously appear on screen before just so these credits would make sense in this episode?
Yeah, I think everyone notices the early meeting of the CMC. Okay. Now the second part. This one's 3 minutes or less.
Previously on My Little Pony.
That's a sin.
I admire these guards' bravery, but I pity their intelligence.
Is the theme always
Shouldn't
going to
they
be a sin?
dead?
Where's she going?
Thinking out loud. Twilight Sparkle reads with the speed of a Time Lord. I love how Twilight has to think for a moment whether or not she wants to share her knowledge. It's like keeping a secret that loses its value after it's out.
I read all about the prediction of Nightmare Moon.
Reminder that Sunbutt is always watching. This background doesn't properly reach the top of the frame.
Especially if there's candy apples in there. What? Those things are good.
Let's just say that Pinkie Pie's humor has really improved since
Yeah.
season 1. I
Yeah.
still don't understand how needlessly dropping Twilight off a cliff expresses honesty. Maybe unfounded trust, but honesty?
Yeah, it
Thundercat
really does
apologizes
it.
for letting Twilight
That's a good
slip,
point.
but it was actually Rainbow Dash that let go. Conveniently placed ledges. You'd think Twilight would see this mysterious blue smoke. The Manticore has no thorn in its paw until later. Equines defecate while walking. Next time, don't let Twilight lead after having so much hot sauce. Nightmares.
Tell me she's not.
These ponies act like no one has ever broken into song before. Or did they only start doing that after Hasbro started following them around with cameras? That is how it works, right? If these scary faces are all in their heads, how is Pinkie in the mouth of one? This sea serpent is awful far from the sea. Did Rarity take the scale from his chin or something?
Ow! What did you do that for?
Rarity, what are you?
Love that scene.
Twilight walks on water.
Just makes no
You
sense.
can't explain that.
This bridge does not obey any laws of physics, nor does it follow any laws of continuity. Why are characters always so trusting of evil voices? Fog has extensive muffling capabilities.
I
Time
think
not with mouth.
Scooter Tricks
When
pointed
the
that
five
out.
are present, a spark will cause the sixth element to be revealed.
What in the hay is that supposed to mean?
I'm with Applejack on this one. Friends exit the room simply because it's relevant to the plot. Twilight
Yeah.
disappears, but is immediately found just next door. Nightmare Moon stands around for a good 10 seconds while Twilight reminds the audience of her objective. Well, they sure took their time to stroll on over. Would you trust a face like this if you were dangling off the edge of a cliff? Fluttershy's element shards are improperly layered.
Just like your cutie mark.
Fluttershy is colorblind. This lens flare is improperly layered behind the crack in the window. Also, lens flare. Twilight knew all this time that they were sisters, and yet still acted surprised to hear so.
That's the one I mentioned.
I sure hope this offensive pony doesn't become a thing. Sunbutt's butt butted a tail. Awful chipper considering they haven't slept in 3 days.
Okay, that one had a few more sins. Banished to the free forest. Okay, let's see what the next one is. Episode 3. 4 minutes.
Are we talking about the Grand Galloping Gala?
Spike chucks perfectly good apples, and Applejack has nothing to say about
that
it.
is the weirdest
I
thing.
don't see any of the golden delicious
think
apples
most-
that AJ claims to be carrying. Silly animators, you
I think
can't put
most
windows
point
on an
commentators
apple.
mention
Thing.
the apple thing.
Twilight axes Spike if he's been to the gala as if he'd actually go without her. This pony is levitating. Barry Punch pays 8 bits for a basket, but Applejack only puts 4 in the chest. That sure is a hefty commission. Judging by these flies, Big Mac must be trudging through his own fertilizer.
I'd give my left hind leg to go to that gala.
Oh,
Twilight would have taken Applejack's left hind leg if Rainbow Dash hadn't interrupted. My headcanon is that Big Mac sent Rainbow Dash as a spy to ensure he wouldn't have to put on a girdle. I think he succeeded. This bed looks very uncomfortable. Must be a GoPro. Whatever the Buccaneer Blaze is, it's simply too awesome for us to see.
Yeah, I never do see the Buccaneer Blaze.
Stump is practically in the middle of the road. Forget Granny Smith's health. I need to live out my dreams at the expense of others.
Yes.
I genuinely want to see the
Applejack
outcome
really
of
has
that
the
hoof
best
wrestle.
reason. That's
What's
another
wrong with
thing.
Pinky's body? Pinkie Pie decimates an innocent teddy bear. With a different facial expression, this scene would be quite traumatizing. Rarity could easily get the other ticket simply by convincing Spike to pretend to want to go, and then get him to make up some excuse to give it to her. I'm seeing some Flash puppet scaling issues here. This scene really messes with the headcanon and canon alike when it comes to the eligibility of being a princess.
hummingbirds that can really hum.
Don't they all?
Not a Brady Bunch
Turner is
fan, I
trapped
guess.
inside of Twilight. Windows Movie Maker transition. That's why I only eat at places with numbered meals.
I would love a daffodil and daisy sandwich.
Ponies have difficulty digesting daisies, and daffodils can actually be toxic.
Oh, okay.
Spike
Get some
orders the same thing
research
that is
there.
offered as a seat. Twilight's favorite friends must be Fluttershy and Applejack. Mr. Fantastic as a pony. The rain would still be easily visible even if you're not directly under it. Looks like somebody forgot to bring in the hay fries. Or is that the hay that's intended for seating? Wait, shining armor?
We used to try to see how long we could stare at the sun without stopping.
Judging by the delay between Rainbow closing the clouds and the rain actually hitting Twilight, these storm clouds are only about 45 feet off the ground. Those power tool sound effects are appropriate considering how difficult it must be for a four-legged animal to get dressed. Rarity left a booger on this privacy screen. How is Fluttershy aware of the theme song?
We're all doing little spring cleaning.
Fluttershy is
question.
secretly a union mobster. Tomatoes are poisonous to ponies. Angel is a diabolical little demon. Not this pony again. I clearly heard a pony say, "I'll do your taxes." Not a perfect world after all, is it? Wait, it's nighttime now? Either the
Celestial wants
lights
all the
were on all
taxes.
day, or Twilight turned them all on only to turn them all back off. Either way, it's a sin. This is one animation error that no commentary or witty comment can top.
Wow.
My headcanon is that Rainbow Dash would have actually taken the ticket if it weren't for this stare.
Now you won't get to go to the gala either. No.
Well, wallop my wither, Spike.
For what possible reason could this be a saying in Equestria?
A letter from the princess? That was fast.
That is a weird
Of course
line.
it was. Celestia had planned this whole ordeal from the
They kept
start
that
and
one
had the
in
6
Scooter
tickets
Tricks,
ready
I
from the very
remember.
beginning.
How come I don't get a ticket to the gala?
Spike, 2 tickets were sent to Twilight and yourself. You gave up your ticket, remember? If Spike wanted to go, all he had to do was accept the ticket, and this whole conflict would have been avoided.
Aw, come on, Spike.
Even more in this one, yeah?
Girly gala gunk.
Okay. Now for Applebuck season.
Well, I better get kicking.
This one's back to 3 minutes.
Part of being honest is knowing when not to make promises you know you can't keep. Applejack should know better. Theme. Barry Punch leaves the safe
Always
own
the
home
theme.
to join the others running around like maniacs.
Pinkie Pie, are you crazy?
Did she really just ask that question? Silly Shoeshine, you're not a main character. If this bell has any meaning at all, Muriella is either a wanderer or a ninja cow that's always sneaking up on others. And suddenly every pony is teleported from town central to Applejack's farm to pose in front of the cinematically positioned sun. Rarity only has 4 brief lines in the entire episode.
That is a sin.
Magically disappearing ribbons. Using magic to affix a banner to a building is overkill, even for unicorns. The writing on that page must be gigantic for her to move on to the next one already.
Really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Pinkie Pie just gave away the
Kanye.
cake's products for free. Every pony but Rarity appeared on stage. No pony thought to check
Yes.
for AJ before starting the ceremony.
Lack of rarity
Giant
is definitely a
balloon
sin.
looming
Like
over
in the
mountain
sky.
in the distance. Pinkie Pie imitates a police car,
What on earth is that pony doing?
thinking out loud. It sure didn't take long for Twilight to master that teleportation spell. If you look closely, you'll see that Rainbow Dash is actually standing in midair next to a fence post. Rainbow Dash is about as good at calculating physics as I am. How did Applejack even get up here? This board has no support under it. I know they're cartoon characters, but shouldn't Rainbow Dash be a little more concerned that her friend just took such a substantial fall?
Applejack, what the
What is going on?
Rainbow Dash really needs to work on her recovery. Also, is the library really that far away? Unimpressed Stove is unimpressed. Pinkie Pie can easily see that Applejack is using the wrong ingredients. I'd say Pinkie be trolling if it
Yeah.
wasn't for her also eating the muffins later on. She said muffin! That must define her entire personality.
We need all the help we can get.
What do you need help
That
with?
is pretty silly.
Mopping up vomit?
I think you're beating a dead tree.
That's quite an interesting idiom to have in Equestria. Random mule wandering around private property. Fluttershy is in charge of bunny population control. Recycled animation. Almost as overdramatic as a certain fandom I know. Careful, Daisy. Your Rainbow Dash is showing. This house is floating. Twilight just assumes that Applejack had something to do with the bunny stampede. Where did these green apples come from? Actors always talk about the good sides. I don't think this is Applejack's. Rarity is actually working. With magic like this, isn't everyone else's help
Yeah,
just a waste
rarity
of
having to
energy?
work is a sin.
Spike is a freeloader that only shows up once the work is done.
That's great. She's kidding. And one more, I believe. Yep. Gilda. That was weird. Just random Twilight.
Theme. Maybe Sweetie Drops and Bonbon are actually 2 separate ponies.
Ah, that's a
Cloud Kicker was
possibility.
kicked out of the Ponyville market. Pepe Le Pew reference. Pinkie Pie grows an extra ear. Snorkeling with a flotation device.
That doesn't make a lot of sense, no.
Those words concern me when her hair is straight. North and south are tantamount to up and down in Equestria. Theme breaks the 4th wall. Spike carries 11 scrolls, but drops 10 on the ground. You'd think Spike would have seen this coming after the first mistake. Celestia has a hole in her ceiling. 7 scrolls become over 100 scrolls.
Yes.
Pinkie Pie giggles and speaks at the same time. I'm just going to assume that Twilight is making illegal performance enhancers. This
Probably.
can only end well. Clean your belly button, Pinkie. Now that's dedication to a prank.
Yeah.
Pinkie and Dash might have painted the orchard fast, but AJ picks and throws them even faster. The fish might like Fluttershy now, but just wait until it's Harry the Bear's feeding time. Using a telescope to view the other side of a pond is overkill.
Yeah.
So what is Rainbow Dash even looking at with that angle? Left eye? Right eye.
Good question.
Fluttershy is deaf and blind not to notice our dear Pinkie. Also, I know time flies when you're having fun, but this is ridiculous. Lens flare. Gilda ignores Pinkie and addresses the camera instead. 2 attempted fist bumps in a row. Shoeshine and Sweetie Drops are blind. Although I guess you can't really blame them considering the apple baskets only exist for a moment.
It's just a joke.
I don't think they'll want it back now. Fluttershy wants
That is
backwards
such a
to
weird
busy
line.
market. Floating house. If you think this is an odd expression, take a look at Cloud Kicker. Twilight
Wow.
and Fluttershy are awkwardly waiting for their cue.
So many things I'd never notice.
You've met Gilda, right?
I'm a year older than you.
Andrea Libman is a year older than Andrea Libman.
Don't mind if I do.
You are the only one able to pick them up after all. Silly Berry Punch, you're not a main character. Are these supposed to be apples? Soon.
Can I blow out the candles?
Silly Spike, what, are you a... Oh.
She is.
Voice actors all too obviously trying not to blow into the microphone. The voice clip, "That's so funny," is used 3 times in a row. There's always that one guy getting their germs all over the cake. Rainbow Dash is standing on Gilda's right rear paw. Whoa,
That's not
violence
very
much?
cool of her.
Magically repaired cake. Pin the tail on the pony is Rarity's favorite game.
Well, I
That
am
is
the
pretty
honor,
weird.
And I'll have the
Don't know why that would
Actors
be.
at cons in a nutshell. Cartoon pony.
Dash and I have 10 times as much cool as the rest of you put together. Come
Well,
on.
obviously Gummy is not in the room at the moment.
Dearest Princess Celestia,
I sure hope this
Gummy
letter
is
doesn't get
pretty
picked
cool.
up by Celestia's newly installed spam filter.
You've got mail.
Okay. That one had a lot
Crazy
too.
contraption.
Okay. That's then. So, this was actually quite fun. This guy is approaching it from the right perspective so far, I think. He is making some cool points and pointing out some things I'd never even noticed before, which is pretty cool considering how many times I've seen some of these episodes. It's hard to entirely gauge what his overall opinion of the episodes are when it's all just pointing out the little flaws and we don't hear any of the positive stuff, but this time everything seemed to be in line with my own thoughts, more or less. There was nothing harsh in it, like him saying mod was one of the only reasons to see Rainbow Rocks. And yeah, just more than anything, this time it was just focused on errors in logic and animation, and actually, rather than quality judgments. I actually like how he didn't count Kilda herself as a sin, and yeah, counting Rarity's lack of screen time in Applebuck season as a sin definitely wins a lot of points in my book. But yeah, his delivery is good. The videos move at a brisk pace and are pretty consistently funny and enjoyable. I had a lot of fun with this, and I'll try and return to it before long. Hope you liked the commentary. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.